Hi, this is Pranav Guha Thakurta from EduTV. We at EduTV are an education company dedicatedly working in the field of education across India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Middle East, and few of African countries. Due to the corona disruption, the world has now moved towards online learning. Virtual learning platforms have become the backbone of education across all institutions across the world. Schools, teachers, students, parents, even edtech companies are playing very important role in making virtual learning possible. It is the latest trend and indeed a great opportunity for all the stakeholders in the field of education. But as with every opportunity, there are few challenges also. So today we are here to discuss among all stakeholders of education about virtual learning platform, opportunities and challenges. We have with us today Mr. Bhushan Gurung, Academic Director, the Chaudhary Group of Schools, Nepal. Mr. Uttam Kumar Jha, Chairman, Sahodaya School Association, Indore, and Principal, Choitram School, North Campus, Indore. They shall be representatives for the school head's point of view. Mr. Sunny Arora, Physics Faculty at Genesis Global School, Noida. Madam Nidhi Saxena, History Faculty at Genesis Global School, Noida. They shall be representing to discuss the teacher's point of view. Ms. Paridhi Gupta, a student of Sun City School, Gurgaon. Ms. Riyanshi Gambhir, a student in Sun City, Gurgaon. Ms. Pavni Pania, student from DPSG Vasundhara. Ms. Archita Srivastav, student at DPSG Vasundhara. Ms. Chavi, a student at SAM International School, Dwarka. Ms. Dhriti Kapoor, a student from SAM International School, Dwarka. They shall be representing to discuss the student's point of view. Welcome everyone. Now I'll start from the student. I'll start from Paridhi Gupta, Sun City School, Gurugram. Paridhi,
yes, sir.
What is your view on online education?
Before that, I'd like to wish everybody a very good evening. Where platforms where students can put up their views, they're very essential in today's time, considering we do not know when this situation will end or when it will rectify itself. So I'd like to thank EduTV for creating a platform like this first. And coming to the issues that we face, students face, according to me, would the first one would entail that there is a lot of everything now that it's happening on the laptops and screens. We face the screen for a very long duration in our days, about 6 hours of class, and after that the work we have to do for class is also done on these very screens. So we barely get time for ourselves, and apart from that, the amount of headaches and issues we have because of looking at screens for the entire day is a very big issue we face. Apart from that, I think theoretical subjects like history or personally business studies are easier to teach online as compared to maths, accounts or physics, because they require a lot of practical knowledge, and the personal touch that's needed for such subjects I feel is lacking. Thank you very much.
Uttam sir.
Yeah.
Can you take this question, sir?
Yeah, definitely. And what Paridhi has spoken about the long screen time, and we also don't prefer that the student should be exposed to the long screen time, because it even creates a lot of problem, dizziness, headache. So we as an educationist, we basically suggest that they have to be given a flipped classroom kind of a teaching. They should be provided the content before the teacher has to discuss about it. So in the virtual classroom, only the conceptual aspects have to be discussed, not as a classroom teaching, physical classroom teaching which the teachers do. So we prefer that the children should go through the content before they come for the virtual classroom, and they have to send their queries to the teachers, and the teachers have to solve those queries which are related to the concepts of that particular topic, so that it would even reduce the screen time, and the child would, because child has to accept this change, and child has to ready for learning on his or her own. It is not necessary that everything has to be taught by teachers. So through videos, through other methods, if they go through, even if they have the books with them, they have to go through before they come for the virtual platform for interaction with the teachers. So this is my opinion, and that would reduce even, and the screen time should also be in slots. It should not be in continuation. That one period, then there should be a break, and the child has to do some exercise or some revision part of it, and then if the child finds any query related to that particular thing which has been taught, that could also be raised in the next period when the teacher would talk about that. This is how you can reduce the stress, you can reduce the screen timing, and all those problems would be resolved.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. Now, who's the right person?
Can I add to what?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Paridhi, I just caught two of your points. I just want to give you some clarity about C19 that you said, the issue, COVID-19, when will it end? One thing, Paridhi, we have to be very, very clear with ourselves. Let's not lie to ourselves that it's not going to end. We have to learn to live with it. It is just like any other virus. And even if we invent a vaccine, it's going to come back. And it's going to be, time will come, it's going to become like any other, common flu or cold virus. But as of today, it is fatal. It is, the mortality rate is high because we don't have the cure of it. But this issue will remain. Please consider COVID-19 will be a part of our lives till we are alive. That's one. Number two, you talked about looking into the screen. You millennials, you should not be facing any problem as such because you have been doing this day in and day out. I know I have a daughter like you, and on the right hand she has a spoon, and she is on the left hand she's scrolling. So I don't think so you should be facing this problem of continuous screen time and all that thing. Anyway, that's a joke. Whatever Uttamji said, I really second it. Yes, it is. Why it is like that? Because now looking into the screen has become a work for you all. With Insta, Facebook, everything, it was play, fun, and you are enjoying it. Now it has become work. Therefore, I think you are finding it tiresome. But we will get used to it. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thanks,
now I would like to invite Mr. Sunny Arora. Thank you, Mr. Bhushan Gurum from CG Education. I would like to invite Mr. Sunny Arora. He's very important because A, is a physics teacher. So a lot of students who are talking to us, they said science subjects are very difficult to be taught online. B, I think he can talk about the screen time also. He's a physics teacher.
Absolutely. I think, sir, what this generation we refer to is as we refer to them as screenagers and not teenagers anymore. So yeah, so this is a generation of screenagers. But at the same time, sir, jokes apart, I think this is something that needs to be addressed, and I think what we have done as a school, I think others are also doing the same way. We do have a 20 minutes break between lessons, and this is what has come very recently from the parents as a feedback, that if you are keeping 5 slots in a day for kids, let's say it starts from 8:45 to 2:15, and you have a 20 minutes break in every lesson, and then you have 5 slots, at least dedicate one lesson to subjects which could be, like it could be music, it could be yoga, it could be meditation, wherein certain techniques could be imparted to the children. Because as sir rightly pointed out, this thing is going to stay with us. Probably the government's next plan would be to have social distancing norms in the classrooms. And that is how you have to live with it. That is how you have to proceed. Coming back to the point of subjects like sciences, and specifically a challenging subject like physics, let me tell you, 2 weeks into the online lessons, I got a suggestion from one of my students. She said, "Sir, tomorrow I would like to take up a lesson." So I was very surprised. This is how teachers are. We love authority and control. So the moment she said, I would like to, take up this lesson on. So I said, are you really serious about this? Because this is something that you don't know. like parents, we care for them. We think कि ये नहीं कर पाएंगे. So we thought, okay, just let me give her a chance. And you would be surprised, she brought in so much of variety. She got in animations into her slides, which even I could not have thought of, and it went off so well that at the end of the lesson everybody enjoyed it, and people were looking up to taking turns in the next lesson. And I think that is how education is reforming, and that is how we also should keep changing with the changing times.
Thank you, Mr. Arora. Miss Nidhi would like to add something to this.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Like Sunny sir has rightly mentioned, obviously we have to live with it. And when we are taking these online classes, we have these 20 minutes breaks so that, the children get a break from the screen. And while teaching history, obviously, yes, it's easy to, give theoretical knowledge. But then also, when I was also taking my classes, I noticed that the students were getting bored and, it was like a monologue. Then I also switched to modes like, videos, interactive PPTs, question and answer sessions. With these simple innovations and simple techniques, I could make my class lively. Even the history class looked interesting and my kids actually looked forward to it. So yes, as teachers, we have to just grab every resource and which is available, and just try to make it engaging and interesting for the kids, so that they are interested and alert and attentive during the lessons. So I would just say that yes, definitely it's very effective when we are imparting subjects like history knowledge, theoretical knowledge, but then we can definitely make it interesting with simple innovations and simple techniques.
Wonderful, right, ma'am? Now I request Miss Dhriti Kapoor from Salmon International. Yes, Dhriti.
So a very pleasant evening to everyone. First of all, I would like to say that I'm blessed to everyone that they have given me opportunity to come here and speak my words. Thank you so much, my principal ma'am, Mr. Pranav sir and Miss Tanya, for giving me opportunity to speak, sir. One of a very big challenge at this point of time is that, like as Paridhi said, that their only theoretical knowledge is much more easy, but practical knowledge, it's not at all easy. For example, subjects like biology and physics, they're having a lot of practicals, and that's not easy that every student will be getting it. And one more point that I want to add in this is that in a country like India, there are many people who are not enough, economically, financially, they're settled that they would be having internet, they would be having Wi-Fi connections. There are a lot of technological glitches also. So, and in one family, as a part of a lockdown, whole family is there. So, like people are not having enough devices in our country. So we should look on this topic also.
I think a very good topic. I have also heard it. I think it is there in our country. Like students say, when my father will come back in the evening, then only I will get the smartphone. So who would like to reply to this question? Bhushan sir, I think we have the same problem in Nepal also. Or
Yeah.
Or Sunny sir.
I think Sunny can answer this because she's referring to the theory part in science, right, Dhriti? You had that biology, especially how do we go ahead with biology and other chemistry where they have practicals?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, sir, regarding this, I think two more most important tools that so far we've discovered very recently is, one is you have the OLabs, amritaolabs.edu.in, which has virtual experiments, so you can do things on simulation. Secondly, you have Exploriments as an app, which very recently one of my students taught me how to play around with it. So one is Exploriments, one is Amrita OLabs.
What is it? Can you repeat?
Exploriments. It's an app called Exploriments, and the other one is Amrita OLabs, which allow you to take up simulations and which allow you to actually literally do the experiments virtually. But honestly speaking, as a teacher, you're absolutely right. When it comes to teaching them in the lab and telling them about the nitty-gritties of an experiment, for example, end resistances in a Wheatstone bridge, you would be amazed that this thing is something that human touch is something that is, you cannot replace it for sure, even if you're working in a virtual lab. And probably in a couple of days, you'll have many more companies coming up with such virtual labs. But then also, yes, that is one valid point. Till the time we don't get access to our laboratories, these two apps work really well. We're trying it right now, so we know that it is working well. The other thing she said about devices, probably internet connectivity and technical glitches is one thing that everybody's been facing. We've been conducting MCQ assessments with the help of Microsoft Forms, and this is one thing that parents have told us, that halfway through the test, suddenly there is a electricity fault, or suddenly there is a technical glitch, there's a Wi-Fi issue, and it's gone. And the challenge that we teachers face is that how do give them that extra bit of time, and how to conduct the assessment all over again. That is a tedious task. And right now, the biggest challenge that the industry is facing, I mean, the education industry is facing, is that how do we come up with softwares that help you with subjective assessments? That is one tool that every school is now looking at for conducting their periodic tests, which are not only MCQ types in nature. For that, you also need to have subjective questions. So very soon, I think the Indian market, the education industry, will be flooded with companies which would be offering solutions on how to conduct subjective assessments as well. But till the time we don't have it, I think the only way out is that if a household has 2 devices or 3 devices, probably you will have to prioritize what to do, and which member gets to have a go at it. Thank you.
Yeah. Pavni, can we have your question now?
I'm so honored to be here with such amazing people having such an important discussion, which is the need of the hour right now. Well, first of all, I feel there's no other choice apart from online classes. Like, the situation is so packed up that we just don't have any other choice, and we have to deal with it. I know how much we miss being in the classrooms, having fun with our friends, and even interacting with the teachers and having such a good time overall learning. But this is the situation and we have to deal with it. And that we can do only if both the teachers and the students and the whole management, we all cooperate. So yeah, I completely agree with my fellow mates. Whatever they said, that totally made sense, and love the suggestions that came over. Even our school is trying to make it even more efficient and effective. There's this one thing I've noticed. We are panicking somewhere, I suppose. We are rushing to, in schools, we are rushing to finish our chapters, and we are moving from one chapter to another, and that's happening really quickly. We're not giving it a break. First of all, obviously, that point of this screen timing, that's a lot. So that's really there. So we are just rushing along with the chapters, though the student is not able to cope up with it. Obviously, there are a few students who can, but the majority, if we see, they can't, because there's no clarity that when the exams might start or when the school might open. So somewhere we need that clarity, somewhere we need to calm that panic situation down, so we don't rush. Because if we rush just to finish the syllabus, we'll just finish the syllabus, but the situation might be that the students are not actually understanding anything. So we need that time period in between so that we can revise and actually understand the concept, so it actually helps. So yeah, that's my point.
Jha Sahab?
So she was talking about when the school is going to reopen, and when they would come to school, and the children, they definitely have these questions in their mind. And as Mr. Bhushan has said, that we have to live with the virus. So the government is also planning to open the school either in the month of August or in the month of September. So only 3 months, this period, which July, August, and half of the June, the children have to go for online classes. And then physically, when the school is going to reopen, that would be alternatively, because we have to maintain the social distancing between the children also. So we would be calling half of the children, like suppose in a particular class there are 2 sections. So one section would be called on a day, and that would be distributed to 2 different rooms. So that way the social distancing would be followed, and the next day the other section would come. So duplication of job for the teacher would be there, and the children would attend at least 3 days the school in physical, and the remaining 3 days the children could learn online. So this is how initially the school is going to begin. this is what they are planning it. This is what the proposal the administration has asked from us also, to make a layout for opening of the school. If we have to open the school, how we are going to follow it. So we are talking to the administration and talking about this, as the CBSE has also announced the dates for the remaining papers of class 12th and 10th. So they are also giving the guideline how it has to be done. Like in an own school, they are going to have the examination, and they would be coming to a school from different parts of the city, and they are going to have the exam. So slowly we have to learn how to maintain those physical distancing, all those norms laid down by the government, and the precaution is the only way to keep ourselves safe. So if we keep those precautions which are already laid down, and we start coming to school in a proper way, then in the school also does all those preparation of sanitization and putting sanitizer everywhere, and avoiding the groups of the children to be at one place, and use of washroom, everything, if the school also works on it. So I think that the school may reopen after 2-3 months, either from after 15th of August or from 1st of September. And then these children, those who have learned online, and they would get a chance to go to the laboratory also to use those experiments and what they are missing in the virtual labs, as Mr. Sunny was talking about. And subjective tests, he was talking about how to conduct. So there is one way. If you create the question paper in a Google form, and you can stipulate the time that in this period you have to write, and you can, in a Google form, you can create 10 lines, 15 lines subjective answer could also be written. And you give a time frame that by this time when you open the form, and in 1 hour, you can have a power to close it down. They have to submit before that. So that is how you can go for summative assessment also. So during these months, you can go for MCQ as well as subjective assessment, and you can see how much you have, what you have taught is being taken up by the children well or not.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now we can have questions from students. So Rianshi, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Rianshi from Sun City. And you can also tell us, you want to ask this question to Mr. Jha from Chaitram School Indore, or Mr. Gurung from CG Education Nepal, or Sunny sir, or Nidhima. Fine. Even a student can answer the question if he or she wish. She, I think, all dominated by all the girls.
So my question is, and it's also a problem for me and a lot of my friends, is how we're supposed to adapt to this. We're used to things being written on the board in front of us, and the teachers connecting with us. They look at us and they explain topics to us. And we feel good when they do that. We discuss topics with our friends. We're given time to do activities in class sometimes. But in the online classes, we don't get to connect with our teachers or our peers. And sometimes we feel like in the class that we aren't participating, and we don't know how to, because it's a new thing for us. So adapting to this new and big change that's dominating in our lives, it's really hard for us, because we need someone to look at us and explain the topics to us. And like Pavni and Paridhi and Chavi explained, it's just, we know that it's going to take some time and it's not going to get over soon. And I think the main problem that we're facing is adapting to the new classes. And a lot of my friends, even when the teacher calls on them, even when the teacher is trying to involve them in the class, they don't answer because they feel awkward. And they feel scared of answering on this on their computers or their phones. And a lot of times we have technical issues too, like Chavi told us. Even when they are answering, sometimes the power gets disrupted. And how are we supposed to adjust to changes like this? And if, like, giving a test, our power goes off, and the teacher doesn't get to know, and we're not able to submit the test, then it's reflecting really poorly on our grades as well.
Sunny sir.
Yeah, so here I would just like to tell you something which is very important, is that teachers are taking this as an opportunity. Two very important points. First and foremost, the government has asked us to go for social distancing and not emotional distancing. So this has actually given us a very good opportunity to connect with students, with our students one-on-one. So I'll just give you an example wherein if you are not able to, get across to a child in a normal classroom the way you would do, right now there are means and tools. I mean, everybody is on the phone. The parents have it, the children have it, and I usually spend my evenings connecting to those learners who are actually not very comfortable in answering things on online platform. So there is obviously a platform where you can vent out your fears and worries, and at the same time, what is most important is that we, as the media says, we are the fourth corona warriors, because we not only have to look at the curriculum right now, we also have to cater to the emotional needs of our children. And for that, I think the only mantra in this age is connect. The more you connect with your learners, they know it, at the very onset, they know it, that if something is not gone well today, sir is going to call me back in the evening and ask what the doubt was, and he is going to clarify. I think that is the kind of faith and trust that is getting developed. And I see as an opportunity all the more now, because earlier, if I was not able to connect to each and every one of them, now is the time I can make up for it. Now is the time I can grab them in the evenings and ask them, hey, what's wrong with you? Or probably if you've not understood, please come back to me. And most important tool is that since in the normal classroom we were not bothered about recording our lessons, right now what is happening is everything is getting recorded. For example, we are working on Microsoft Teams,
Yes.
so everything is getting recorded, the lessons are getting recorded, so children can always go back to it and refer to those video lessons which are recorded there. At the same time, they can even raise a query, raise a doubt pertaining to any topic based on that video that they've seen. So that is how I take it, as an opportunity right now, not as a challenge anymore.
Wonderful. Miss Nidhi,
Yes, sir.
how do you find the classroom teaching and online teaching a bit different?
Sir, definitely these two are totally different. Like when we are talking about e-learning, it's like we are into distance learning. It's the modern method of distance learning. We are not in touch with our students. Obviously, when we are teaching in the classroom, we can look at the children, we can understand what they need. If we feel that this a certain student is not into the classroom or not alert or attentive, we can definitely uh, assign something to him or her so that he or she can get back to the class and he's back attentive and alert. But in the online classroom, we do not get to see our children. We are only looking at the screen. Sometimes they even switch their videos off, they are on mute. We do not even know whether they are listening to us or not. When we are calling out to them, they can simply respond by saying that the internet is not working fine. So these are the issues that as teachers we face in our day-to-day life when we are imparting e-learning. So these are the challenges which we really need to focus on. But nowadays, of course, we have certain apps which enable us to design certain tasks where each and every child is involved. But then again, it is not happening at exactly when we are teaching. It has to be done separately, like peer assessment, peer reviews, or certain collaborative tasks that we can assign to our children. However, when we were in the physical classroom, obviously we can make the children sit in groups, work together. So that human interaction, human touch is definitely missing in the online classrooms. So that is where, like Sunny sir says rightly, when we can actually connect to our students on one-to-one basis. So it's good that we have our phones. Every child has their phones with them. We can get in touch with them, and but still, I would say that human interaction definitely is missing.
Chavi wants to good. Chavi, yeah.
Chavi,
Chavi wants to answer it. Yeah,
I think
Chavi.
first of all, I would just like to wish good evening to all of you.
Very good.
Actually, I also want to thank to the Edu TV that they are providing such a good discussion based, right? And then I want to just say that Priyanshi, I think she said that she raised the question. She said that we are not able to communicate, like we are not asking questions in this virtual learning. I think so. She said like that something. And she also said in when we are in real classroom, we are actually asking questions and giving answers, and in virtual classroom we are not. We are afraid, we are feeling awkward. But I think this is not something which is happening. This is just the opposite, I think. Because in the virtual classroom, we are not afraid of teachers. I can answer whatever. Like, if it is wrong, I'm okay. Like, okay, she can't just have, she can't say anything. So this is the first thing. And the second thing is, I think we are not sitting here to just reject the online classes and virtual learning. So I would just like to say, first, second thing is that in lockdown, we are not only they all are saying that it is bad, it is just saying, just see the positive side. I'm just looking at the positive side, just look at it. What it is that in this period, and you know that I love writing poems and essays and like this, I love writing. But in the academics, like when I am in my regular basis on my classes, I can't do these things. But now we are having only hardly 3 to 4 classes in a day, and then I am free all the day. Though I got some assignments, that is obvious. We get some assignments, we are getting homework, teachers are giving us. But the thing is, apart from that, the complete day is like, we have all the day free. We don't have. So in that time, I'm actually writing poems, what I want, what I love to do. So this is a thing which I think is really good. And lockdown has not only had an negative impact, but a positive one also. And being so much negative that corona will never end, yes, it's a true reality, like a bad reality. But still, I think we should look at the positive side.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think very good. Archita, can you answer Madam Nidhi's views? She said a lot of students switch off their cameras, or a lot of students, I think, write connecting ... as their names. So like teachers think they are connecting. Can these things be checked?
Yes, I think to some extent these things can be, for example, now when it comes to attending online classes, the main aim of the teachers is to allow people to understand what they're trying to teach, right? And if it is not, so if a person is not interested in, learning what the teacher is trying to teach, then I don't think anything can be done, because the same now, even when you're doing it in case of a one-on-one interaction or in the classroom, whatever the students mood is, or it depends on the student's mood, right? So if they really don't want to listen to what the teacher is trying to say, then they could just they might be physically present in the class, but they might not be mentally present in the class, right? And that is the same case. I mean, those students are the ones that are writing, reconnecting while they're attending classes, or they're not paying attention to what the teacher is teaching. So in the end, I think it all boils down to the students' sense of responsibility, the determination, the will to understand these classes. So I don't think it really does bring a lot of change.
Okay. Any other student? Yeah. Pavni.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I completely agree with my friend Archita. We are in the same school, so we are batchmates. So yeah, I completely agree. If the student doesn't want to really participate or study, he or she will be present in the class, may not even change his or her name, but still be present in the class, yet she will be doing anything else. I feel what can actually be done is not really something which is technical. You can't really check, and also students are really smart. We know that. All the teachers also know that. What we can do, I feel, is if the student and teacher have that kind of relationship form. Like I have seen in few classes, like in my economics class, we have Fahuda sir. He's so very interesting. He's all the time trying to connect with us, all the time trying to interact. He cracks jokes so that we can relate and study. So there's a mood being created. Like when the teachers and the students both cooperate and try to at least create some sort of the mood which was there in the classroom and create that relationship, then automatically students would want to actually come, instead of just checking technically, oh, ye bachcha nahi aaya, we need to call his or her parents. That doesn't really help, because that makes the situation even worse. we all are feeling, we all have mixed feelings. As Chavi said, yeah, we should definitely look at the positive side, but somewhere we do have mixed feelings, obviously. So to correct that, I feel there needs to be a relationship, a bond which needs to be formed so that the student feels comfortable to actually come. So yeah, that's what I feel.
Wonderful. So I would request Mr. Jha or Mr. Gurung. Yeah, Gurung Sahab. Bhushan sir.
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic that you were discussing, bunking, right?
Yes.
Now, this bunking is, I think, it's a part of education. I believe.
Yes.
It's not something which is away from education, and this bunking. I think in this one party is not at fault. It's both the parties, students, of course, and even us, teachers. I'm also a teacher. If I don't make my class interesting, if I don't build rapport, if I don't connect with my students will try to avoid my class. And now with virtual platform, it has become much more easier to avoid, me and my face and my boring lectures than it was when we had physical classrooms where they had to sit. Then, you can't just run away from school, right? So I agree with you, and we teachers, we have to, ensure that our classes are interesting, and students look forward to it. Like Pavani, she's just said that she loves her economics class. Why? Because the teacher is interesting. The way he or she's, delivering is of a lot of interest, and she likes that subject. So we have to ensure that our students fall in love with our subjects. Then I'm sure bunking can be reduced. But again, like C19, it cannot be eradicated. It is a part of education.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Yes, Nidhi.
Sir, I was just mentioning that when we were in the physical classroom and, the moment we look at the class and we know that the class is not doing well or going well, or, it's getting drab or something, we can immediately switch to something interesting right away.
Right.
However, it is not possible in an online classroom because I can't see whether the student, I can see the whole lot of list of the students who are showing like they are there. All right, but then if the videos are not switched on due to some internet issue or whatever, I do not know whether they are physically present or it's just their name which is reflecting there. That is the thing that I was pointing out. However, in the physical classroom, I can simply see what my students are feeling, and if they are not feeling up to it, I can switch to something, some task or some interesting activity right away. As a teacher, we have all these experiences. Okay, fine, we know that, okay, right now the class is going boring, so let me just do something else. Well, this is not possible in an online classroom. All we can do is, yes, we can record our lessons, our students can go back to it. And like I mentioned, when I was actually taking my history lessons, I do feel that, it was like a monologue. So immediately, again, I definitely tried to, bring in PPTs or videos or, interactive worksheets, question and answer sessions. But then again, those discussions were dominated by a few students. Not every student is a self-motivated student. When they are sitting at home, they have all the things around them which are easily available, the things they like, they have their, or whatever they need. However, in the physical classroom, they have to be there. If I have assigned some task, they have to be, they will be doing it, and slowly and gradually they will develop an interest into the activity. But this is not possible in an online classroom. That was I was trying to mention.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Now I would request first Mr. Uttam Jha and Mr. Gurung, as they are running many schools together, like Mr. Gurung is running 20 schools, that too in with different cities. Jha Sahab is heading 130 schools. So Mr. Jha, what is your message for the teachers and screenagers?
When these children are talking about and the teachers are talking about the bonding between the teacher and the student, this bond cannot be made in a day or two. It is already being made between a student and teacher when the physical classroom was on. You cannot make it in a virtual classroom teaching. So if you make the subject interesting, topic interesting, have some humor in between, and then children would love to attend your virtual class. And there are always 5 to 6% children, those who are not interested. Even in the physical classroom, you would find that they try to distract the teacher. They don't want to understand. They don't want to listen to the teachers. They try to do something wrong in the classroom so that the attraction of the teacher could be diverted and everything. So this way, here in virtual classroom also this is the case. So we are not supposed to basically talk about those 5% students. And here the responsibility comes to the another stakeholder, that is the parent. And the parent would be there. They have the responsibility to see that whether my child is learning through online teaching or not. Unless we involve the parents, unless we talk to the parents and communicate with them, it is not possible for us to monitor the children at home through virtual classroom teaching. So if all the stakeholders, they come together as a team, and we also as a teacher make the topic interesting and humorous for the children, so definitely they would love to attend the classes. So and I'm sure it is not going to last for so long. This virtual classroom teaching may go away, and we have some physical classroom teaching also. We should not lose our hope, and we would be there with our friends, and we would be in a school having all those activities, games, and other co-curricular activities. So definitely the normal school would come again. So we should not lose hope. And definitely this online, we have to slowly, because the COVID-19, when it came, it did not give us the time even to prepare our teachers to teach. And the children were also not ready to accept the online teaching suddenly. So now slowly and gradually the things would be in a proper way, and would create some interest in the children also, and the teacher would also train himself or herself in a better way or innovative way of making the subject interesting and assessing the children in that particular lecture. So slowly we would come on track, and I'm expecting these children, definitely they would also start loving the virtual classroom, because at this time there's no other options available to us. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So may I
Yeah.
may I add something?
Please.
Sir, right now all they love is the online assessments where they can easily cheat. So that is one thing.
Correct.
Online assessments are prone to cheating, and we still have to figure out how to cope with it. Though there is one or two tools which are available to counter that, but then again, yes, they at the moment love the assessment part the most, because there were many students who say, let's have board examination also online. So
again, coming back to the same thing, I think the answer to all these questions is only one, which is having a relationship of trust and faith with them. Because I think there were claims that there is a school in Bangalore wherein the artificial intelligence is entered and robots will now overtake the classrooms. I think this is an answer to the
yes.
entire community now, that nobody can replace teachers. Physical teaching is, I think the importance of physical teaching is now understood to one and all the stakeholders of our community are very well aware of this, that humanoids or artificial intelligence cannot replace physical classroom teaching. And
Correct.
reiterating the same point again, even while conducting assessments, we were asked to make sure that the cameras are switched on or whatever. But in my lesson in grade 12 in physics, I very clearly instructed them one thing, that this assessment is for you, and if you don't need to switch on your cameras, I will not entertain any camera work. So switch off the cameras. This is for you. If you score well, you know that you are doing great. If you don't score well, you know what needs to be done. You will have a plan in place. So if you cheat today, probably you're cheating yourself. And if you keep repeating this to them, probably there is no way you cannot win over them. The only thing is, connect is the only way you can get across.
Wonderful. So, Mr. Gurung, I would like to have your message for teachers as well as the students.
I just wanted to add to the need of a teacher, the physical presence of a teacher, the need is now seen very, very starkly, right? And rightly said, AI can only give us knowledge and information, but AI cannot replace a teacher. That's for sure.
Yes.
You know why? The reason is emotion. The emotional bonding that a teacher can have with his or her student cannot,
Yes.
I don't think so, AI can do it. So that is one of the key reasons. Now, coming back to your point as to what I should tell the teachers as well as the students, I have few bullet points to tell to our teachers. Number one, this is the time where we have to not only teach our students the core subjects. For example, I think Sunny is teaching science and Nidhi is a history teacher, right? We also have to teach them something more, right? This COVID-19 situation has a big lesson, and these young students are the leaders of tomorrow. They need to understand as to why we should not mess with the environment or the ecosystem. This is this message I think we should also give to our students, and this is, I think, one of the key responsibility of today's teachers to share this with the students as to why did this happen. So what is the way out? Because if we don't learn from this situation, tomorrow is going to be a tough one for all of us. That is one. The other thing is, yes, online is here to stay, no matter what we say, even after post COVID, when we come back, I think online will be a part of our educational system. It will be a part of education. It will be a key tool for all of us. So I would like to request the teachers to adapt and to become an expert how to use this in a very, very interesting and effective way, so that students feel good, feel excited, and feel that they have, they have they have really taken something from the teachers through online classes. These are the few things. To the students, I would like to tell you that you need to again unlearn and relearn vis-a-vis your habits. You have to unlearn and relearn your habits. We know it's a new normal. Things are going to be different. It's not going to be the same anymore, right? That is one. The other thing is, most of the time we have seen students, they falter, they become stressed, they get tensed. Why? Because they are unable to manage their time. 24 hours is the same for everybody, but if you know and how of time management, it's going to help you a lot. There will be a lot of assignments, like somebody was telling me in this platform itself that we are loaded, too much studies and everything. Yes, it will be there, but you should know how to manage your time. And last but not the least, this is not the time, like Chavi said, this is not the time to be depressed. This is the time to just stay calm, stay cool, and stay safe. Don't do anything stupid.
Great.
This is what I wanted to say, Pranav.
Thank you, Mr. Bhushan Gurung, Head
Thanks.
PG Education Nepal. Madam Nidhi Saxena from Faculty Genesis Global School, Noida. Mr. Sunny Arora, Faculty Genesis Global School, Noida. Ms. Chavi, Sam International School, Dwarka. Archita PS, Basundhara.
I would also like to thank each one of you, especially the students. You're the bright ones. Come on, stay happy, stay safe. Okay. And Pranav, I would like to thank EduTV, you and Tanya ji. I would like to also request you to give me more such platforms, so that I can interact with students, and I really enjoyed this 1.5 to 2 hours of our program. though there were some, net issues, but still, I really enjoyed it. Thank you. Stay safe, everybody. Thank you very much.
And
Thank you.
Archita from DPS, Vasundhara.
Yes, sir.
DPSG Vasundhara, thank you. Dhriti, Sam, International School, Miss Pariti Gupta.
So I'd just like to say something here. I'd like to thank the teachers with us here specifically, because I don't think we as students appreciate you and your efforts, the ones you're putting in, the extra mile you're going for us right now. I don't think we appreciate that enough. So I'd just like to take time and thank you from every student you teach right now. So thank you very much. Without you, we are nothing. You are the ones that shape our future. So thank you very much. And thank you EduTV again for this platform.
Yes, sir. I agree with her. Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Riyanshi. And
On behalf of all the teachers to students.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much
Okay.
for having us.
Television.